From the land of sky blue waters, welcome to the Sota Pod. Isha me here alongside my friend Seth Toupal, who will bring on momentarily. And I thank you all for joining us wherever and whenever you are listening. Guys, we have a big show planned for you here today. And we're going to get to the Hoppy Hour in the final segment of the show. Don't you worry. But before we bring on Seth, before we dive into, like I said, funny enough, a packed show of hockey talk, hockey news. I want to give a big shout out first to our friends at Northland Vodka. Northland Vodka can help you cope with the now lack of Minnesota sports going on this summer. Now, I know there's the Twins, and before you guys fire back at me, I'm just not a big baseball guy. The women's hockey's done. The Stanley Cup playoffs are almost done here. Northland Vodka can get you through the rest of the summer, whether you drink it on the rocks, whether you drink it straight, whether you use it for your mixed drinks, for your summer mixed drinks. It's the best damn vodka in the state. Hell, it's the best damn vodka in the United States, ladies and gentlemen. And Mark Parrish and the team there are an amazing team to work with. Great people. It's a local company, and a percentage of each sale goes back into the community, goes back into local hockey. So what are you waiting for? Go get you some Northland Vodka today. Northland Vodka, a proud partner of the Sota Pod. Let's bring on Seth Toupal from Locked On Wild. My man, Seth, how's it going, buddy?
We are doing great, especially because I had the realization brought to my attention that the draft is Friday, not Wednesday. So here I am all day today, all day Sunday when we're recording this, just sweating bullets. I'm looking at my list of stuff I got to get done for the week. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough time. And then it comes to my realization that the draft is on Friday, and I'm like, boy, I am really glad I put together an in-depth to-do list this week that now I can spread basically to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then be all set.
So imagine flying to Vegas, because you were originally going to go, right? Imagine flying to Vegas on Tuesday or like Monday or whatever, just to find out, oh shit, I got to book a hotel for like 4 more days.
Yeah, like my initial plan way back when I looked was to fly in on Wednesday. And I don't know what I was looking at, but I was like, yeah, I'll fly in on Wednesday, go to round one that night, and then just hang out and come back on Monday. And I'm like, that seems awfully long for a draft. And like I said, I don't know what I was looking at, but thankfully it all got clarified before I just showed up, like ready to do coverage on Wednesday and have there not be any.
And speaking of the draft, ladies and gentlemen, the Sota Pod on the Sota Pod YouTube channel, on our Facebook channel, but we want you guys to come over to our YouTube channel because we will be more interactive there. We are hosting the biggest event of the year. That is right, our 5th annual Sota Stream NHL Draft, ladies and gentlemen. Seth's going to be riding shotgun live in the Sota Pod headquarters here, i.e. my massive living room. We're going to have a bunch of guests from the Minnesota Wild podcast space and guests from around the National Hockey League. Various folks who cover many teams of the National Hockey League joining us during their team's picks. We'll have Spoke Z hosting the show, giving us in-depth analysis. We'll have highlights from players who are being picked, and man, it's going to be so much fun. We level up our draft show every single year. And now that we're going into the 5th annual, we've been putting a ton of work, a ton of prep into the production of this show. And we're going to go all night. We're going to go not just, the hour or two that the draft is going to be on. We're going to go a few hours beyond that as well to dissect everything that happens, whether there's trades, picks, guys that rise, guys that fall. It's going to be a great night. And like I said, your boy Seth is going to be there as well. So be sure to tune in 5:30 p.m. Central Time. We are going to start half an hour before the official broadcast. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Sota Pod. A little bit of Minnesota Wild news, some tough news, some sad news coming out just a couple days ago, but reported here today. Youth hockey coach and former Minnesota Wild forward Stephane Veilleux has been hospitalized following a serious car crash. Veilleux was in a crash on June 19th, and though it initially appeared that he was okay, it was a typical fender bender. He was taken to hospital after suffering severe pain in his neck. it actually turned out to be a fractured vertebrae in 2 different places, and the course of treatment includes immobilizing his spine in a halo vest, and it will be a long recovery. There's a GoFundMe page for it right now, guys. I will link that in the description, and you can see it on screen here. I just wish him the best recovery, man, because he was a legend for the Minnesota Wild, right? I mean, not an absolute superstar, but he played so many years for the Wild, and he's still like very much part of the community. He's currently a youth hockey coach. He's an on-ice instructor for players ranging from youth to the NHL, and he also works for the Minnesota Wild's Little Wild Youth program. Again, the GoFundMe page is going to be linked in the description of this podcast, in the description of the YouTube video.
Yeah, I think this is probably what makes it the toughest, is that not only is he a former Wild player, but he's still very active and very involved in Minnesota Wild events. And so it really feels like part of the family. And so glad to see that there already have been a large range of donations that have come in. And best of luck to him. Best of luck to him on the recovery. Hopefully he's able to bounce back from that and continue to coach, because that's the worry too, is that something like this is going to impact his ability to do that. Something that he clearly really enjoys to do. And so hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah, he played 506 games and recorded 106 points in his National Hockey League career. He was tough on the ice, and look, he's tough off the ice as well. I think he'll get through this, but prayers, warm thoughts, all the above. And again, guys, his GoFundMe page is here if you want to help out the family. And it's so awesome to see that, like Seth pointed out, a lot of the funds already coming in here so soon are already close to the goal within just a couple days. Moving on to some more Minnesota Wild news here, ladies and gentlemen. The Minnesota Wild's home arena, the Xcel Energy Center, is reportedly getting a name change after the 2024-2025 season. According to the Pioneer Press, the Xcel Energy Center, the longtime home of the Wild, will have a new naming rights sponsor after this upcoming season. Seth, thoughts on this?
It's just part of the business side of things. I mean, obviously, because Xcel Energy has been, the name sponsor of the arena for so long, it's kind of become ingrained in everybody's head. But names change. Miller Park was a mainstay in the Major League Baseball circuit. Safeco changed. Like, I'm not even a big baseball guy, but that's legendary, right? It's just one of those things that happened. I'm going to be intrigued to see who ends up, being the one that is the name sponsor going forward. You feel like Mayo Clinic is probably going to, I have nothing to go off of here, but you feel like they probably would be somebody that would bid on it. 3M probably would be another company that would give it a go.
People would be so pissed, dude, based on Mariucci becoming 3M now.
Yeah, Best Buy. I don't know.
Please be Best Buy. Please be Best Buy. That would be hilarious. Oh my God, Best Buy Arena.
I'm just throwing out the few that pop into my head right off the bat.
What are some other big? There's so many company headquarters here in Minnesota, right? Like fucking Dairy Queen Arena.
You could go from calling it the X to the DQ.
Oh my God, dude. Future episode, whether it's on Locked On or here, we're looking at the big corporations that obviously operate here, and we're gonna go through some names. We're gonna go through some names, just like we did with the Utah hockey team.
Let's do that because there's gonna be enough draft coverage leading up to Friday and Saturday. Let's get that done this week. Let's do that on Locked On.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Why not Busch Arena or something like that? I don't know. Hey. Hams Arena? Oh my goodness. Nordy might have a new sponsor, or Nordy might have some competition for a mascot there. Just saying.
Go Hams at the Ham.
Oh my goodness. Nordy and the Hams Bear will square off in on ice competitions and things like that. Oh my
You
goodness.
change the mascot to Ham, and it's just a pig wearing boxing gear.
But yeah, so the arena has had Xcel Energy worth about $3 million per year for over 25 years for the Wild as its title sponsor. One company is said to have already made an offer to the Wild, which operates the arena, and a handful of other firms are seriously interested as well. I'll be a devil's advocate on this and say that it's going to be annoying and it's going to be weird for the first 2-3 years, but growing up in Vancouver or in the Vancouver area between 1995 and I was born in 93, so don't really remember anything before that when the Vancouver Canucks didn't even play at what was then GM Place, right? Between 1995 to 2010, the Canucks played out of GM Place, General Motors Place. And they have since changed the name to Rogers Arena since General Motors, went under. The first 2 years, it was annoying. The first 2 years, I kept catching myself saying GM Place. Bro, I totally forgot it was GM Place right off the bat. I was like, is it BC Place? Oh, yeah, it was GM Place when I was putting some notes here together. So, it only took me 2 years for it to just ingrained in my head that it's Rogers Arena. And I know, and I will even say this, the X, there's something special there. I personally, I haven't been to too many National Hockey League arenas, but I've been to enough that I'll rank the X, at number one. Is the Concourse a little tight? Sure. But I absolutely love that arena. I love that barn. There is something special about the X. You guys will get used to it. I promise. You're going to get used to the new name.
I think I know what it's going to be.
Yeah. What's that?
Target Arena.
Oh God.
Why not just complete the trifecta? I mean, US Bank has US Bank Stadium, but Target Fields, Target Center, call it Target Arena.
Let's just call it.
Then we can just nickname it the Bullseye.
That's good. Or you could just name it Bud Light at this point.
I did find there are some good ones here. I found the list of the 100 biggest companies based out of Minnesota.
Oh,
there are some good ones in here.
I can't wait.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
The Wild Arena, baby.
Call it the B-Dub.
Oh, there's some good options. And again, the X, it just works with, the Xcel Energy Center. But I promise you guys, in 2-3 years, even, like I said, 3 years max after the name change, it's not going to matter. You guys aren't going to care. It's different. Mariucci to 3M, it's different. It just feels different, right? It's a more intimate rink. There's more history to it. I promise you guys, it's not going to matter after a couple of years. And I promise you will always think of the X, but you're going to get used to the new name. It happens with everything. It happens with everything.
If Examiner.com buys the naming rights, you could still call it the X.
Bro, okay, don't give up every name on this episode, but holy shit.
There are 100 of them.
This is going to be an awesome episode that drops next Friday on Locked on Wild. But yeah, again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but again, from someone who went through it. And again, it wasn't 25 years, but it was a good chunk of my life, man. It was a good chunk of my life. 15 years, and I was pretty diehard Canucks fan for at least 10 of those 15 years. Trust me. GM Place, it's now Rogers Arena ingrained in my brain. And it will be until the next name change, and then it'll take a year or two for me to flip the page again.
Maple Leaf Services.
No.
Arena.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I'm revealing too much. I got to stop.
I don't want, again, as much I'm Canadian, but anything that says Maple Leaf in it just reminds me of Toronto, and I want none of that garbage.
Yeah, we've got a different team here.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. On the other side, we will be back to talk some NHL news here. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back on the other side for more Sota Pod and NHL content there, going right into stream mode. If you haven't already circled it on your calendar, do so now, because June 28th, half an hour before the draft begins, we will be live on our YouTube channel for the biggest event of the year. That is right, the NHL Draft, hosted by yours truly, Spoked Z, and featuring your favorite podcast hosts and guests from all around the Minnesota podcast and media scene. We got Brett Marshall from Sound the Foghorn. We got Seth Toupal from Locked On Wild. We got our boy Big Dev from 10K Takes, and more guests from around the world of the National Hockey League, covering many teams and bringing you guys the best coverage, the best live coverage on YouTube. So again, check us out at the Sota Pod on YouTube. We'll be live half an hour before the event, 5:30 p.m. Central, and we're going all night, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest, the baddest, and the most informative watch party covering the 2024 NHL Draft. So go subscribe to the channel, check out the stream link, and join us for our biggest event of the year. It's gonna be so much fun, and we want you all part of the show. We want to be interacting with you guys throughout the evening. Circle that date on the calendar, and we will see you on draft night. The Sota Pod is also brought to you by our friends at 7th Avenue Pizza, which Seth, 7th Avenue Pizza, they're going to be fueling us. They're going to be fueling us during the draft stream. That is right, the Sota Stream 2024 NHL Draft Watch Party that we will be hosting on our YouTube channel. Again, 5:30 p.m. Central Time. You don't want to miss it. And 7th Avenue Pizza is the best damn frozen pizza on the planet, I would say, Seth. Fuck Delissio, fuck Domino's, which is basically frozen pizza level at this point. 7th Avenue Pizza is the best. It's a great local company, and Matt and the crew are just amazing people as well. They're totally interactive on social media, so if you have any questions on where you guys want to find them locally, hit them up. They will instantly reply and lead you in the right direction. Right now, Jerry Foods has a deal, $7.99 for 7th Avenue pizzas. Lunds and Byerly also at $2 off your 7th Avenue pizzas. And again, if they don't sell 7th Avenue pizza at your local grocery store, ask them why and tell them to get that shit on the shelf, because it is amazing. We love them. A great local company, an amazing product. 7th Avenue Pizza, a proud partner of the Sota Pod. Seth, what's your favorite 7th Ave?
Oh boy. You really put me on the spot here. There's a lot of good ones. There are a ton of good options. I'm partial to the meat sauce myself.
Oh, me too. I love the meatballs and instead of sausage. Well, I like sausage on pizza, but like it's so unique and it's a good change.
I'm at the point in my life where I really enjoy spins on standard food, standard fare. And so the fact that they have actual like meatballs on that pizza is just like, my brain is like, wait, is this? And my taste buds are like, yep, yes, it is.
That one's definitely, I go back and forth on which one's like my favorite. Sometimes some months it's meat sauce. Sometimes it's breakfast. Sometimes it's just like I said, like they're all good. Sometimes it's just like the meat lovers one, but meat sauce is usually up there. And if they have a limited like amount and there's like meat sauce and then like pepperoni or like meat sauce and like the deluxe one, I'm like, my first choice is usually the meat sauce. Usually like I'll go in and be like, okay, that's the one I want, until I'm like, maybe I'll try something different today. But usually whenever I have a craving for 7th Avenue Pizza, that's the one I'm usually thinking of when I'm going into the store to grab one.
I will also give a huge shout to the breakfast pizza.
It's good.
It's outrageous. Especially if you get after it on a Friday night and you need a little something to pull you back to life on Saturday morning.
Look, Casey's is fine. It's fine. But 7th Avenue takes the cake. 7th Avenue takes the cake. All right.
Hands down.
We have some NHL news. And oh my God, Seth. I could only imagine how many NHL GMs today were burying their faces in their palms when they heard the news that That's SKA St. Petersburg is releasing Matvei Michkov from his contractual obligations, man. Freeing him up to join the Flyers organization for the 2024-2025 season. Man, like the reason he didn't go in the top 3, the reason he didn't go second overall, perhaps, was because he was under contract with SKA, and people didn't think he was going to come over for maybe up to like 4, and at most 5 years. Dude, before I just get your reaction to this, I just want to, like, how many GMs do you think right now are just like, for fuck's sakes, bro? Definitely
the first 6.
Yeah, dude.
Because he went 7th to Philly, right? They had the 7th overall pick. Yeah, the 6 that picked before Philly did are definitely, now maybe not Chicago, obviously, because Bedard, but I would say definitely 2 through 6 are upset, distraught.
He's so good. He is so good, man. So it was first reported by multiple sources here, but CAA's JP Barry and Pat Persson secured the rights to represent Michkov actually just a few weeks ago. And we're working in collaboration with agent Paul Theophanis to have Michkov released. Michkov, who's 19 years of age, like I said, could and I believe will be joining the Flyers for this upcoming season. Now, the Flyers are hosting a like a prospects camp July 6th, and I don't think he's going to be able to come over for that. That's literally like just over a week. Yeah. So I don't think he'll be able to come over just in like 2 weeks for that. But this is still huge news. Now, again, the Flyers drafted him 7th overall, and they assumed he wouldn't be available till 2027 maybe due to his contractual obligations. But reports out of Russia in recent weeks suggested that he might have been available to come over next season, that SKA was perhaps going to release him, and lo and behold, it happened. Now, Daniel Briere still needs to sign the young prospect, but he believes Michkov would have been ready to play last season if he was able. So he's going to get him to the United States as quickly as possible. He's going to sign him to this contract as quickly as possible. And Briere was quoted saying that he probably would have gone 2nd or 3rd in the draft and would have been able to play in the National Hockey League immediately in a top 6 role if he wasn't under a KHL deal last year. What are just your initial thoughts? What was your reaction when you heard this news break this morning, Seth?
Well, and I remember vividly just how upfront Briere was about this when Philly picked him, that they're comfortable with whatever timeline, that they were comfortable enough with the talent that he brings to the table to pick him, even if it was something that they wouldn't really see 3 or 4 years down the road. And, there was legitimate concern that we were maybe getting another Kirill Kaprizov situation here, but obviously Philly's got to be thrilled. The nice thing about contracts in the NHL, especially the entry level, is that they're all it's essentially a sign on the dotted line and you're done. So once he gets to the United States, don't be surprised if now they may give him a little time to kind of get settled in, but don't be surprised if within, say, 48 hours, he's got that contract signed. Like, they're going to get him signed. They're going to get him to the team facilities, and they're going to get him going to start his NHL career a few years earlier than anybody anticipated.
Dude, my roommate Joe, he's a big Philly guy. As you guys will see on our draft show, he's got a Sean Couturier jersey framed and signed in our living room alongside an Alex Ovechkin jersey framed and signed as well. And this kid could come in, and I'm not saying he's going to be the next Alex Ovechkin. I'm not saying that. But he's going to come in and I truly believe make an impact in his rookie season. Maybe even like a Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah.
He is so sick, man. He is so sick.
And he's the kind of player too that, and I think this is why Wild fans get so frustrated, is the Wild have somebody in a similar situation in Danil Yurov, And the hope was that we would be seeing him in Minnesota this season. Obviously, he signed for one more year in the KHL, but tremendous talent that your team could absolutely use right now. And so don't be surprised if they may try to ease him in gradually with a little bit of a lower role. I hope not just like a fourth line, like play here's 5 minutes a night kind of a thing.
I don't think so.
He's too good for that.
Yeah, when he's coming in, he's coming in. He's playing top six.
But yeah, you could definitely like slot him in on your second line right away and just let him learn and develop. And a Philly team last year that in the second half of the season just really struggled to have playmakers to kind of lead the way. He's exactly what they need.
Yeah. And they're going to have some moving parts this year as well. And yeah, man, like I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I don't think like the Torts factor is going to be an issue here. Like there's some hard-nosed coaches in Russia. And I think if anything, he might thrive under Torts. He might thrive under Torts, especially because Torts is going to give him all the rope in the beginning anyways. And he just seems like this kid from what I've read, from what I've seen, from what Z has told us on Judd's Buds, like this kid like bites down on his mouthpiece, so to speak, and just goes. So yeah. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see him play in the National Hockey League.
He doesn't strike me as somebody where work ethic is an issue. I could totally be wrong on that, but that's the kind of thing that if you can go in and do that on a daily basis, you are going to make fast friends with John Tortorella. Like that's the only thing that really, really grinds his gears is when guys are kind of going through the motions. Then you get called out. And so if he does like Marco Rossi did this past season, that quote where he says, every day I show up to the arena, just work hard and try to help my team win games. Like he's not going to have any problems.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mentioned Ovechkin there. We're talking about a Russian hockey player. I ask you, Seth, is Alex Ovechkin's time in Washington coming to an end?
I think so. Maybe not this year, but he is definitely in a race against time. Like that's the only thing that is going to stop him from catching Wayne Gretzky. And the Capitals are fully committed to helping him get to the goal record. You look at what they have done over the last couple of seasons. They've mostly kept things the same. And, if anything, they tried to bring in a little more help this year in Pierre-Luc Dubois, who they are hoping can benefit from a change of scenery. But it's a Capitals organization that I think is going to let this be kind of the big storyline for them over the next couple of seasons at least. But you look at the year that Ovechkin had this year. In the first 2 months of the season, to the end of November, he had 5 goals.
Yeah.
And you get to the end of 2023, he had 7 goals on the season. And you even go to the end of January, he had 9 goals through the first 4 months of the season. He did not really get going until February. Then he had 7 goals. Then in March, he had 10. And he finished April with 5 more. And then you look at what happened in the postseason. Like, it's very clear that Father Time is starting to catch up. And so at this point, it's Ovechkin versus Father Time. Like, he's still capable. It's just that the only number that matters is 42.
Yeah. And we hold him to such a high regard too, because we hold him to such a high expectation as well, because of how dominant he's been throughout his entire career, how dominant he's been even, 35 to now in the last 3 years, right? He had 42 goals last year, 50 the year before, and in 2021, 2022, he had 90 freaking points last year, over point per game. This year's still good. Like I don't want to dog him. Like he started off slow as you mentioned, but towards the end of the year, he was one of the guys who put the team on his back and was like, all right, let's go, boys. Like if I have to do this alongside Charlie back there, like we're going to do it. And, a respectable 31 goals. But for Ovechkin, that's not great. And, 2016, 2017 was the last time he scored 30 goals. I'm not going to count 2021 because he had only 45 games played. But
yeah.
And you said Father Time is the only thing holding them back here. What about the drinky poo? What about them beers in the off season? Because Ovi right now looking a little thick, Seth. Looking a little thick. As we will show you guys in a moment. But why I asked Seth that question also is because I've been seeing reports from multiple outlets that have quoted Ovechkin saying that he does want to still play hockey for a few more years and likely, into, his early 40s, but not necessarily in the National Hockey League. That he wants to play his final at least year, but he was quoted saying years in Russia with the team he started with, Dynamo Moscow. He also was quoted saying in multiple reports that Gretzky's record is still a long ways away, even though it's only 42 goals away. So in 2 seasons at most in the National Hockey League, right? And maybe next year, if he comes out swinging and has the year like not last season, but the year prior, where he can put up north of 40 there. He's done it time in and time again. So for me to hear both of those things, it's like, does he have one foot out the door? Is he as motivated to break Gretzky's record as I honestly thought he was the last few years? And then we see his offseason physique. Now, I ain't body shaming here, ladies and gentlemen, because Dustin Big Bufflin, he got that nickname for a reason. He would balloon up in the offseason as well and still come in, a little hefty, but still be able to skate. And maybe he was just the anomaly because Dustin Bufflin was able to skate incredibly, even though he was such a big boy. But I would say, again, we're not body shaming, but concerning nonetheless for a pro athlete. Now, this is the first picture I saw, and I was like, okay, he's still getting a sweat on. He's still getting a sweat on here. But more and more photos surfaced, and I love this tweet here. Alex Ovechkin keeping in shape with some volleyball this offseason. And I mean, again, he's almost 40, so he's got that dad bod going right now. But I wouldn't say he's staying quote unquote in shape. As a pro athlete here. He's got some good volleyball skills, though, I will say.
Playing volleyball with Timothy Mozgov?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a name from a different time period.
So when I saw this photo here, Seth, I honestly thought I didn't think it was him. I'm just going to say, I didn't think it was him at first. At first glance, I didn't think it was him. He's definitely got the dad bod going.
He's in better shape than I am.
Well, I mean, me too, but he's a professional athlete, right?
This is just the cycle. He's just having a good time. His season ended a little earlier than everybody else's did, so he had the whole month of May. He had now the whole month of June to just kind of recharge his batteries, get himself back on track.
He's just cultivating mass as it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
He's in max bulk stage. No, this is just quintessential veteran player, knowing exactly, it wouldn't surprise me if he has it plotted out to the day. This is when I need to kick it into gear
and get back into dieting, training, the whole 9 yards.
This is the day that I need to start to get back into training mode for the season. This is just kind of the part of sports. I'll use the analogy for offensive linemen. Every picture that you see of an offensive lineman after their playing days are done and they just look like half of the person that they were.
You mean double the person that they were?
You have a 300-pound offensive lineman that all of a sudden, when their playing days are done, is down to 200 pounds because they have no reason to keep that weight on. And
I've seen the opposite too.
for Ovechkin, there's no reason in the offseason for him to stay in the peak athletic shape. And so he's just out here having a good time. He's probably had a few cocktails, which I can certainly be jealous of, but he'll be ready. And here's kind of my view of the whole situation. I think the wording about talking about Gretzky's record still being far away, he may be looking at this is one final year to try to really get close to it, and then he's going to make a determination.
Good point.
After that, like,
good point.
Let's say this year he gets 38 goals and all of a sudden he's 4 short. Well, then hell yeah, it makes sense to come back and just try to get it and set a new number. But
right.
if he were to end this season with like
20 something,
yeah, to where it's like, well, I'm gonna have to really push for another season, and I just don't know if I have it in me. That's then where going back to Russia and playing with his the team that got it all started, that's probably where that comes in, because he's not quite ready to hang it up like for good. Just may not view that Gretzky record as attainable, depending on how this next season goes.
And I mean, man, he's been an absolute warrior for the Washington Capitals. He won them a cup. He's played over 150 playoff games, right? And he's played injured through, I mean, when you're the top guy, when you're playing as many minutes as Ovi has in playoff games, like, you're dealing with something every year, right? So yeah. He's put his body through hell, whereas like I am on the same page as you. Like, all jokes aside, like, I imagine he knows when it's time to get back into training mode, and that he's had such a legendary career that like he's not that young buck anymore chasing that Stanley Cup, right? Like he's deserved the opportunity to live a little, especially when the NHL season is done. But the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are not even done yet, right? Like, we're not even into July yet, right?
There's a reason you see the players who are not in the postseason take all the trips right away.
Yep.
Is because when July, August, September roll around, that's when it's time to get back to work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, big buff. He cut enough weight to still have a long career and play many years after this notorious picture came out where he was living it up at I forget whose wedding it was, but it was one of the Blackhawks' wedding here. But like, man, if Big Buff could get this big in July and then again come back for a training camp and look as good as he continued to do for, I think like he played like 5 or 6 years after this photo, right? After this offseason, then like I'm sure Ovi will be fine. So many athletes, by the way, balloon between their seasons, and especially fighters. Now, I cover a lot of boxing, I cover a lot of combat sports, and I know a lot of them like drain themselves like to the max to like make weight. But still, you got to get yourself to like 10 pounds, 15 pounds from that weight limit, right? And like, I know fighters, which again, I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I know fighters between fights, right? And that's like a 4-month, stretch, who like will fight at 155 or weigh in at 155, and whether they get into the cage or ring at like 160 or 165 on fight day, they'll go up to like 205, dude. Some of them will put on like 50 pounds. Now, most of them, but there are some that do, and the ones that do, I've never seen them miss weight.
Well, and it's so much of it is diet too. Like, you just say, okay,
100% diet. Yeah.
In the off season, I can eat this, this, and this, but once it gets back to training for the season, like, I just cut all that stuff out of my diet.
Yeah. But I will say, this is the largest I've seen Ovechkin in the summer yet. Now, I know he's getting older. I'm sure the weight comes on quicker. But, I mean, he got a little chunky there when he won the Stanley Cup and was just drinking beers left, right, and center. And then
on that Phil Kessel plan.
There you go. Phil Kessel, man. Phil Kessel, he doesn't even diet. He doesn't even diet. Now, he didn't play in the National Hockey League this year, but Phil Kessel's no Ovechkin. He's a tremendous goal scorer, but he's no
Damn
Ovechkin.
Close.
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Oh, man. That's... Maybe they would have gone past Edmonton. Anyways, let's move on to some NHL trade rumors and then some trades that occurred, which might have taken some fun out of draft day 1 and 2, but we'll get to that. The first thing I want to talk about here, though, Seth, is according to Elliot Friedman on the Last 32 Thoughts podcast, Winnipeg Jets 2022 first round pick Rutger McGroarty his name has come up in multiple trade discussions. Just what do you know about this pick? And yeah, what was your reaction when you heard Elliot Friedman report this on the last 32 Thoughts podcast?
Obviously this is a surprise because he's a very talented player, but this is, I think of most recently, it was Cutter Gauthier, wasn't it? That just had this pretty much exact same thing happen with Philadelphia. And the Anaheim Ducks swooped in and traded Jamie Drysdale to the Flyers to be able to acquire the rights to Gauthier. Sometimes players and organizations just aren't a good fit. And It doesn't matter the talent that the player possesses. The player may not be super enthused to go to that spot, or the team might just kind of sour on the fit a little bit. And so if it were me, I would definitely take a look at this because he's young, the talent is there, and if it were me, if I were running the Minnesota Wild, like, I would definitely be calling on here because it's not like you are having to try to work him onto the roster at this point. He's going to be going back to Michigan, and so you've got yourself some time, but it feels like a situation where you want to try to get the talent on the roster and just worry about the fit somewhere else down the line.
Absolutely. And apparently his family advisor and the Jets are not talking, but the one thing I can tell you is that I've heard Rutger McGroarty has come up in trade discussions, said Elliot Friedman on the podcast. The 2022 14th overall pick had 52 points in 36 games played for the University of Michigan. And he previously announced that he was returning to school for his junior year. The Winnipeg Jets hold his signing rights for 2 more years. Let me just get his stats up on screen here. Again, two great years in the USHL. Man, good first year, good second year. Made some progress in the second year as well. And yeah, this is a very good prospect. Now, do you think the Minnesota Wild could swing a trade for this guy, and what do you think they would have to give up? Because he's not yet at the Gauthier level, in my opinion.
So a couple of recent examples, Jack McBain is a good one on our ends because the Minnesota Wild had his rights, did not want to sign here, and so they traded his rights to Arizona for a second-round pick. That would be probably a comparable. I view it this way. I think Jamie Drysdale for Cutter Gauthier is probably like the high watermark for a return because I think Gauthier was the closest to being ready to play at the NHL level. I would say a second or a third round pick probably. And I'll just preface that I'm not super good with like trade returns and such, just because when I play NHL, all of the trade packages are just not based in reality at all. But the interesting thing too, and I don't have anything to go off of this. This is just purely kind of me connecting dots in my head. One of the big reasons that Gauthier was traded was that he just didn't really vibe well with John Tortorella. Maybe a situation here that McGroarty was excited to work with Rick Bowness. And now that Bowness is not coaching anymore, maybe he has soured on the fit a little bit. Like,
or maybe he's just like, bro, it's been cold in Michigan, and I do not want to play hockey in Winnipeg.
I'm not enthused to go any further north, but it can be those types of things that lead to a souring between a player and an organization. With McBain, it was that he just didn't really view himself having a fit, having a like quick path to the NHL level in Minnesota because of how the roster was constructed. And so then at that point, didn't want to play here. And so then at that point, you look to make a move. So I would like to see the Wild maybe take a flyer depending on the price. But, we'll find out because I would imagine that gets taken care of here before too long.
I think the trade value would probably be somewhere with like one of their, not like higher end prospects in Iowa, but like one of their younger guys in Iowa and like a 3rd round pick or something like that. Because this guy does have a lot of value.
If that's the asking price, I do that tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's get through 2 more things here and then we'll wrap up the show, guys. On Wednesday morning last week, ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Markstrom officially ended his tenure with the Calgary Flames by waiving his no movement clause. The New Jersey Devils officially announced that they acquired the goaltender that day in exchange for defenseman Kevin Ball and a 1st round selection in the 2025 draft. Per the official press, Calgary will be retaining 31.25% of Markstrom's remaining contract, which after this season has 2 years left on a 6-year deal worth $36 million, $6 million average annual cap. The deal originally signed with the Flames October 9th, 2020. So the cap hit for those remaining 2 years will be at $4.125 million. Markstrom was quoted saying, "It's a big change. It's a big team with high expectations. As a goaltender, that's pressure. But I've been on big teams where there's pressure on goaltending in Canadian markets. I know what's expected, and me as a person too, and people know me that I just want to win hockey games. And when we don't win, I'm my hardest critic. So I'm just super happy and stoked about going there." Now, I saw Jacob Markstrom develop in Vancouver. I don't want to say like he has a high ceiling, low floor, but he said it there. He is really hard on himself. He gets in his own head when he has a bad start to the game, and especially when he's younger. His wires don't cross as much now, but obviously the last couple of years for the Flames, it's been tough. But like it's like the amount of sticks I've seen Jacob Markstrom break, in Vancouver after having like a bad game. And again, sometimes it wasn't even on him, but there were a lot. Having said that, I still think he is a very good goalie. Maybe not to the level of which he was when his last season in Vancouver and his first couple years with the Flames, but a top goalie in the National Hockey League, 100%, and on a good team, again, 100%. I think he will be a great fit for the New Jersey Devils. The guy they got in return, though, he's good, man. He is good.
He had, I think it was, if I was looking at the stats correctly, he had 100 blocks and 100 hits, played all 82 games, and he brings some size to him too, 6'6", 230. He's not just a throw-in in that deal. Like he's got some good skill set and is more of a stay-at-home defenseman. So that's obviously Calgary will take whatever they can get at this point. But the thing to keep in mind here for Wild fans, because we've talked about it on Locked On Wild, and I'm sure everybody else has kind of been scouring through the Philip Gustafson trade suitors, and it just seemed like it made perfect sense for the New Jersey Devils because their goaltending was awful last year. But don't forget that New Jersey was trying to make this happen at the trade deadline, and they weren't able to get it done. But then there were those quotes that came out after the deadline that the Devils were saying they were committed to getting this done and that they were going to revisit it in the offseason. I think the big sticking point was just the amount of money retained by Calgary.
Yeah.
And so once that got ironed out, there really wasn't an obstacle for this. And it's a 2025 top 10 protected first-round pick that the Flames get in return. So if it doesn't work out for the Devils, then it's a 2026 first-round pick that they send to Calgary. But the Devils are just hoping that they can get like league average goaltending. And they hope that Markstrom can give them a little bit better than that, because that was the big thing that held them back last year. If they get even consistent goaltending at all, they're a playoff team. And with all the young pieces that they have, somebody that can just step in most nights and give them consistent goaltending, that's going to take them a long way. I think it's a great fit. I think the return is pretty good, but obviously on the Wild front, it just eliminates a potential suitor for Philip Gustafson.
And he's 34 years of age, 2 more years left on the contract, right? And goalies at 34, assuming they haven't had like a ton of surgeries, like they're fine, right? Like they age like fine wine. And you said it, as long as they get league average to get a top goalie, like a guy worth $6 million, let's just say, that's the price for a top goalie. For that price for the next 2 years, for a team that's budding right now, again, his numbers weren't that good the last 2 years, but the Flames were awful the last 2 years. Dude, yeah. Prior to that, the first 2 years of the Flames, great numbers. And his last few years with Vancouver, like, dude. And Vancouver wasn't even a playoff team.
Yeah, if he can stay, the key is if he can stay relatively healthy. Like he's had a bunch of different 60 start seasons over the last since he was in Vancouver.
But if anything, that's like that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Like, even like 55 games is like, that's a starting goalie in today's NHL.
If he can stay healthy, that's gonna do some nice things for the Devils.
Now, he doesn't have a lot of playoff experience, but he has looked good for the most part, other than when him and Edmonton got in those friggin' firefight games where they're like 7-6 games, 5 games. When we had that Battle of Alberta series a few years ago. I like this move. I've always liked Markstrom, and I'm gonna cheer for him in New Jersey. All right, final thing we want to get into in this show, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of another goaltender on the move, Darcy Kemper traded back to the LA Kings 7 seasons later. And he actually heard about this trade while he was taking a shower. His wife came in, grabbed him, and said, "I think we got traded." He said it was kind of a weird way to find out that one was traded. The 2022 Stanley Cup champion goaltender was traded in a 1-for-1 deal with first-line center. Well, perhaps first-line center this year. Definitely not first-line center for the Kings. Pierre-Luc Dubois, who has a 7-year, $59 million contract remaining on his deal. Kemper previously played 19 games, like I said, for the Kings during the 2017-2018 season. He only played a handful of games there. Dubois is going to be entering year 2 of his 8-year, $68 million contract. Again, that's the total of the contract. $59 million is still old, assuming that he's not bought out, assuming that he continues to play well, or at least plays well now, plays like he used to play with the Washington Capitals. And the Washington Capitals, they're eating all of it. They're eating all of it. The LA Kings aren't retaining a single dime, Seth. So again, assuming they don't buy him out, he will be playing for Washington. He'll be on the books until 2031. With career lows in goals of 16 and assists of 24, the Kings immediately wanted to move on after signing him to that deal, which we don't see often, Seth. But their lack of faith in him was clear. Now, both of the guys' trade value diminished this year. Darcy becoming the backup halfway through the season, and Dubois definitely not meeting expectation, falling down the lineup. Dubois is still earlier in his hockey career anyways. And while it's been an up and down ride, he still has a lot of potential. He's a 6'4", 225-pound winger with a lot of potential still. And who knows, coupled with a lot of veteran leadership, and keyword leadership, not necessarily veterans who are like producing at the highest level anymore, but veteran leadership in Ovechkin, Oshie, Wilson, and some other players who might keep him more accountable in Washington than in LA. This could be the spot for Dubois. And Nicholas Backstrom is gone, so they need a top center. Dylan Strome, he's been fine, but he ain't that projected top center anymore that he once was, years ago. So interesting trade, Seth. What are your thoughts before we wrap things up?
Well, it was rumored after the season that the Los Angeles Kings were looking at buying him out. And the fact that Rob Blake was able to get anything in return for Pierre-Luc Dubois should be considered a win. He is,
especially a 34-year-old former Stanley Cup goaltender.
Yeah, and the Kings had nobody in net for this upcoming season. Cam Talbot, a free agent. Yep. David Riddick was on an emergency loan. Phoenix Copley was injured. They had nobody going into the season to be between the pipes, and so they get a guy in Darcy Kemper who can at least be part of that equation. But this is interesting for Pierre-Luc Dubois because this is now his 4th team He wanted a change of scenery after Columbus. Like the Columbus situation soured to the point that he wanted to get a fresh start in that famous Patrick Laine, Pierre-Luc Dubois swap. Things soured in Winnipeg to the point that the Jets were not gonna they weren't gonna re-sign him, so they moved him and got a hell of a return in Gabe Vilardi and Alex Iafallo.
Huge.
And you go to the Kings to try to pair with like Kevin Fiala as the new guard to complement Adrian Kempe and the rest of the crew there. Why am I blanking on the other? It's Adrian Kempe and Anze Kopitar. My God. They wanted to bring those guys in as kind of the new guard to complement Kempe and Kopitar, and he like by the end of the season he was playing fourth line. It never worked, and this is, I think, probably his last chance, because if this doesn't work with Washington, Capitals aren't going anywhere once Ovi retires. Like once he's done, they are going into full scale, like, let's build this back up. So
well, he's just going to be stuck there on a bad team.
Yeah, like, and if it gets to the point that like it sours completely, they'll just buy him out, and at that point he will be considered like hazardous material, and so he has no choice but to try to make this work, because if it doesn't, his next opportunity in hockey is probably going to be overseas.
Yeah, man. And I wish Darcy Kemper all the best as well. Again, not a good look for him this year, but again, Washington, and it's funny because like Washington wasn't a good team this year, yet they snuck into the playoffs off Minnesota boy Charlie Lindgren and Ovechkin's play later in the season. But a fresh start back in LA on a good LA team. You know, we've seen Darcy Kemper play well when he doesn't have to be the guy. And sometimes goaltenders are the opposite. Like Thomas Vokoun, for example, he was such a good goaltender, put up such good numbers for a team in a Florida Panthers team that like barely even squeezed into the playoffs and who missed the playoffs a lot. He goes to Washington to try to win a Stanley Cup and doesn't play well. Like they made the playoffs, but he didn't play well that year. So there's some goalies who are just like, okay, if I have the right pieces in front of me, I can excel. Right. And there's some goalies who are like, if I have to be the guy, it's too much. Right. So hopefully Darcy Kemper bounces back this year. Again, still only 34 years of age. He's the same age as Markstrom in who we just talked about earlier.
And he might be invigorated by an opportunity to go back to having a chance to start. Like that, I'm sure kind of took the wind out of his sails going to the backup role. Although I don't recall hearing anything about him not handling that well.
No, he was fine.
Yeah, it's not to say that there maybe wasn't some frustration in going to that role, but you see this happen quite a bit where you may say, look, Charlie Lindgren is our guy, and you go to the other goalie and say, hey, we want to send you somewhere to give you an opportunity to get back into a starting role. How do you feel about this? Now, not the case in this situation, but that's a lot. That's how a lot of that stuff works out. Just a fun fact for Washington, if they do decide to buy out Pierre-Luc Dubois, that buyout would, at least at a starting point, end in 2037, 2038.
Like I said, I don't think they're going to buy him out. If they're going to go into rebuild mode, they have to have players still on the ice, and they're going to have money. And right now they do have money, because $9.2 million that Nicholas Backstrom made is likely not going to impact the cap due to him being on LTIR and pretty much retiring. So like they have the money to spend, and if it doesn't work out, well, you're stuck here, bud. You're stuck here. You know what I'm saying?
Play your way off the team.
There you go. Go follow Ovi to Dynamo. All right, Seth. Well, that's going to do it for the hockey segment of this show, folks. We already talked about what we have coming up on Locked On Wild on Friday. We're going to go through a list of possible names for the Xcel Energy Center. Some possible new sponsor, a leading sponsor for the X. Anything else coming up before that you want to tell our listeners about, Seth, before we wrap this up?
Just a mess of draft coverage. And I'll note as well for our live show on Sunday, the 30th. Former Minnesota Wild North Star Jack Carlson will be a guest.
Oh, beautiful. Love it.
So that should be a lot of fun. You can head to the Locked On Wild YouTube page. We've got a post up that gives you an opportunity if you want to ask any questions. We just want to try to accumulate them before Sunday so that Jack has some time to take a look and go over them a little bit.
There you go. There you go. Locked On Wild. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go check them out wherever you get your podcasts from. And don't forget to subscribe to the Sota Pod YouTube channel as well. If you're listening to this via audio, full episodes of Sota Pod are posted there, as well as the biggest draft watch party on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. 5:30 p.m. Friday. We're starting half an hour before the show, and yours truly, Seth, will be there as well. On the other side, the last segment of the show, we're going to get into the Hoppy Hour.
First, I'd like to propose a toast to UMD goaltender Alex Stalock. To Stalock! To Stalock!
I love that stuff. Been drinking it for years. You know, I heard they recently decided to add more hops to it.
You're all hopped out?
What is up, guys? We are back in my humble abode for another beer review. Although this time, as you can see here, I have an array of Costco freaking seltzers. Now, before we dive in to sampling and rating this mix pack of Kirkland, that's right, Costco brand seltzers, let me just quickly give you a rundown on the mix pack. Kirkland hard seltzers come in a 4-flavor mix pack. They are a refreshing spiked sparkling water with natural flavors, 100 calories, and they come in mango, lime, grapefruit, and black cherry. I'm not a big seltzer guy. Okay, I lied. I'm not a big seltzer guy without it featuring THC. However, the fact you can get 24 of these bad boys for $27 after tax, I might just be a fan of the seltzers moving forward. And since I've been kind of on a health kick, I ain't gonna show my abs on YouTube, okay? These might be my new summer drinks. So we're gonna rate them. I have here every flavor in the mix pack. And at the end of this video, I'll let you guys know if it was worth it. And if you guys who are fans of seltzers or who are looking for a little bit more of a healthier option, but still want to get your buzz on this summer, we will determine if these are worth picking up for you. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, we're gonna start with the flavor that I think is gonna be my least favorite. I'm never a fan of anything black cherry candies, black cherry alcohol, black cherry soda. I love cherries. I love all real fruit, but most like fruit clone candies and drinks, especially cherries, it's just too sweet or whatever. But let's try with what I predict will be the one I like the least first. Let's get after it. I didn't break my roommate's glass.
Roller coaster ride, hands up in the sky, take you on a ride, love to feel the high, we can start again, laughing to the end, screaming.
Alright, she's poured up, black cherry. Gotta say, I like limes. I'm that crazy person who will just cut up limes and eat them like oranges, so I'm actually looking forward to try the lime one. No color at all, it's a seltzer, right? It's spiked sparkling water. Down the hatch she goes.
We going up, we take it down.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Okay, so you definitely get that like little hint of that synthetic, fake ass black cherry candy type flavor that's usually in anything black cherry, but it's not bad. I mean, it says spiked sparkling water with black cherry flavoring and other natural flavors. What the fuck are the other natural flavors? To be perfectly honest though, this isn't bad. It's not super sweet. It's actually pretty refreshing. Why not? It's not like I have 3 more to drink. Wouldn't be my first choice, like I said, but this is way better than I thought it'd be. I hope that they're all kind of similar to this in that the flavoring is there, which is good because there's some seltzers that just taste like sparkling water and they have just a little tiny hint of the flavoring, and it's like, why am I even buying this, right? I want some sort of flavor, but it's not quite like a High Noon, or like if you want to go like spiked teas, for example, spiked iced teas that are just more sugar, more sweet, too much, and will just leave you hungover as 100 calories in this, only 2 grams of sugar, and it's well balanced, man. I actually really enjoy it. It's still bubbling here. Check this out. This is good. This is good. If this is the worst one in the pack, damn, I'm looking forward to drinking the next ones. What do I rate it? We'll rate it a solid 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. It's good. I might have given it a 3.5 or even 4 if I liked black cherry. I don't. This isn't the flavor for me, but it's solid. So 3 out of 5. On to the next one. How can we go wrong with mango? Excited for this one? Let's pour it up.
We vibing under the city lights. Wherever the wind go take us. If it's good, we make it contagious. Said we vibing, laying on black sand beaches, thinking of what life teaches. So glad and fall from the deep end. Said we vibing under the city lights. Wherever the wind go take us. If it's good, we make it contagious. Said we vibing, laying on black sand beaches.
You can fucking smell the mango. So strong. Like, as I was pouring this out, man, like, since I cracked the can, holy crap. Oh my god, I'm so excited to try this one. Alright, we have mango now, and I got high hopes for this one, because the moment I cracked it, no joke, it's so potent. Like, I can smell it from here. Interested to see if it's as sweet. Okay, they all have 2 grams of sugar, so it's not like it has any more sugar, but maybe it has more flavoring to it? Maybe they didn't want to overpower the black cherry, but they're overpowering the mango? I'm gonna shut up and just drink. Cheers. Whoa, mango. Yep. It doesn't taste as good as it smells. It definitely tastes more artificial. It smells like real mango. Like, it smells like you're cutting up a mango. It does taste a little bit artificial, but it's good. Definitely packs a little bit more of a flavor punch than that of the black cherry. I don't think I noted this when talking about this one either. You can't taste a lick of alcohol. These are dangerous, especially because they're 5%, not 3.5, not 4, 5. Wow. I definitely like it more. Don't like how artificial it tastes, but how fresh it smells though.
What it feel like, how it be in its real life.
3.5 out of 5. Definitely like it more than black cherry. Little disappointed based on how good it smelt. Where are my manners? But it's good. Definitely like it a little bit more, but it's a little bit let down given how strong and amazing it smelled right off the crack. Let's get to the next one. actually looking forward to this one the most, I think. I'm keeping the weirdest one in lime for last. Now, again, I love lime. I said that at the beginning of the video, but like there's no hint of sugar at all in most alcohol lime drinks unless it's like a cherry lime or like usually a lemonade lime or limeade. Obviously there's like some sugar in that. That one doesn't suggest that there's anything like that involved in that one. And that's not to say that grapefruit pamplemousse is any different, but usually it's a little bit more complex and it's better in an alcoholic drink. So let's get to grapefruit. Can't say I'm feeling the effects of alcohol yet at all. Feeling a little full. Downing pretty much just a ton of sparkling water. I'm gonna start burping by the end of this freaking video like no other, I imagine. Not really feeling the effects of alcohol at all. I wonder if it's gonna start to hit me after this one. Pamplemousse, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely kind of like the black cherry. I didn't smell much of anything when I cracked it. The mango was so potent. I cannot iterate it enough. It was crazy how once I cracked it, like the whole room around me smelled like mango. Can't really smell anything on this one. Having said that, I love grapefruit. I remember in college, as a poor college student, I would eat 2 grapefruits for breakfast every morning, go to class, drink half a liter of coffee, then just my brains out. Maybe I am feeling the effects of alcohol. Why did I share that story? Anyways, let's get into it. Cheers. Oh my God. God damn, that's good. If I could just get a pack of this, I would. This is incredible. I don't even really like seltzers. I'm a beer and whiskey guy, but holy f***, it's like drinking a non-tart grapefruit. It's like drinking grapefruit juice that doesn't have that bitter and tartiness, and it gets you drunk. My God, is that refreshing. My f***. This is incredible. Well-balanced, full-bodied grapefruit flavor. Not really sweet at all, but there's like a hint of it there, because again, there's something in this that's counteracting that bitterness. I mean, it's artificial flavors probably, but they nailed this artificial flavoring. My goodness, this one's the best. Hands down. Damn. This glass, bro. I'm drinking this whole thing. This one's the best. 4.5 out of 5. The only reason it's not getting 5 out of 5 is just because I'm not the biggest seltzer fan at the end of the day. It's too bubbly for me. 4.5 out of 5. If I could get a pack of just the pamplemousse. Pamplemousse means grapefruit in French. It's just a funny word. This one's awesome. Please don't disappoint us, Lon. High hopes for this one, but with how good the grapefruit one was, we shall see. I like lime. Do not disappoint me. Let's get into it. Last one. You put the lime in the coconut and drink a bowl up. You put the lime in the coconut and drink a bowl up. Oh my goodness. We got a bowl to drink it up. Get the f*** out of here. There's not really any fancy way to pour this. I say doctor. This one smells like lime. Alright, like the mango, this one smells potent. You can smell a lot of lime. From the moment I cracked this, you can smell it, and let me tell you, it doesn't smell like any lime that I've tasted, ladies and gentlemen. This smells artificial as f***. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, I'm kind of hoping that it's more on the limeade side, because it smells like f***ing Mr. Clean. It smells like Windex. It smells like some cleaner you would use to kill 99.9% of germs. Is this gonna clean out my insides? I guess we'll find out. By the way, big shout out to Back Channel Brewing. They serve their IPAs in a bowl. You know the type of bowls that we like to hit in my neck of the woods.
Smoke weed every day.
We're hitting the beer bowl. Well, the seltzer bowl for this one. Cheers, guys. Oh. I'm literally drinking cleaning products. This is awful. This is bad. This is really bad. The more I tell myself I'm drinking cleaning products, it just makes it worse. What the fuck is this shit? This isn't lime? Bro, I eat limes. I eat limes regularly. This ain't no lime, bro. This is fucking Windex. No mas. Oh, 1.5. 1.5 because, like, it's drinkable, I guess. It's not overpowering, but at the same time, it tastes like cleaning products. And I'm giving it, I would give it a 0, but that's not fair because maybe some people like to drink cleaning products. I don't know. I'm giving it a 0.5 because it was in a pack with some other good shit. God, I had such high hopes. What a terrible way to end the video. I have an idea. Did any of you as a kid, when you're eating your $1 hot dog and your pop, go to the fountain taps and make the swamp water, which was just a mix of all of them? I know a few of you did. I saved a little bit of each can. Let's swamp water it up. This is gonna be the most f***ed up taste out of them all. 1.5, 3.5, 3, 4.5 swamp water. Let's see how it tastes. It tastes like bubblegum. No joke. This is actually pretty good. Or I'm finally drunk. God damn. There's literally no more room in my stomach. Do I recommend this 24 pack? This variety pack? Absolutely. 3 out of 4 flavors are great. Do I recommend crushing them in a span of like 14 minutes? Absolutely not. There's just too much bubbly in my stomach right now. This one's awesome. Honestly, if you like grapefruit, if you can find a pack of just the grapefruit, I would recommend that. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. Like and subscribe. Let me know if you want me to do more tier lists in this beer review segment. Comment what beers, what other types of alcohol, what mixed drinks you want me to review next in the comments below. I might puke, not because of the liquor, because there's way too much carbonation in my stomach right now. So subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you on the next one. Good night.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Before we hang up the skates, though, I want to give a big shout out to our friends at Better Edge. That is right, legal betting in the great state of Minnesota, guys. And if you haven't checked out Better Edge yet, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Go to betteredge.com/SotaPod as we have a gift for you. That is right. If you sign up to Better Edge just to try out the app and go to betteredge.com/SotaPod, we will gift you $20 for signing up. That is right, a $20 sign-up bonus to play around with by signing up, going to the link betteredge.com/SotaPod. All throughout the NHL season, Hoppy and I have hosted Wild Game Day Pick'em contests. We have also hosted NCAA Frozen Four brackets, as well as Stanley Cup competitions as well. Now that the hockey season is wrapped up, we'll have some more fun stuff throughout the summer, and when the hockey season starts back in the fall, you can expect a lot more contests that we're going to host on the platform. So what are you waiting for? It's a free platform with legal betting in the great state of Minnesota, as well as 44 other states as well. So you can challenge your friends, you can go head to head with their picks, and it's just such a cool betting social media app. It's something unique. It was created locally, great people that run it, an amazing product. And again, we had $20 to gift to you, to hand you when you sign up using betteredge.com/SotaPod. If you're already a user and you want to get more out of the app, you can go check out Better Edge Premium, as premium players have access to free entry to premium pick'em contests, order grades, advanced order filterings, API access, and more. More details, betteredge.com/premium. But if you haven't signed up yet, like I said, go to betteredge.com/sotapod, sign up, claim your $20, and double your money today. Better Edge, a proud partner of the Sota Pod. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the show. Again, join us Friday, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, as we kick off the biggest event of the year, our biggest Sota stream of the year, our 5th annual Sota stream 2024 NHL Draft Watch Party. We will have so many great guests, as I alluded to earlier in the show, live at the Sota Pod headquarters, as well as a ton of NHL coverage from around the league. Judd's Buds is also going to be streaming on Wednesday, so we have 2-for-1 streams here on YouTube, on our platforms. So if you haven't already subscribed to YouTube, please go do so. As if you want the full experience of this podcast as well, go soak it up on YouTube, as we have an extended hoppy hour where you actually get to see me review the beers and, well, seltzers in this case, that we talk about on this show. Appreciate everybody tuning in on the audio side too as well. You guys are the OGs. If you haven't, please give us a rating and review. It just gets us in front of more listeners. And on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe, as that gets us in front of more hockey fans. You guys are awesome. We appreciate the support. Even in the dog days of summer, as far as Minnesota hockey, you guys are still showing up. You guys are still supporting us, and we absolutely love every single one of you all. With that being said, signing off, I'm Isha alongside Seth, Toupal. This has been the Sota Pod, presented by Better Edge, 7th Avenue Pizza, Northland Vodka, and Waggle Golf. Don't fear, just drink some beer, some Kirkland seltzers, and stay wild.